Welcome to Legacy Unscripted, the podcast where sports and business collide. I'm your host, Russ Katzman, and here we'll skip the fluff and get straight to the hustle. From athletes turned entrepreneurs to impact-driven business leaders, we dive into the wins, the lessons, and some of those failures that make our legacies worth living. Now, in today's episode, we're going to welcome student athlete turned entrepreneur with 2B Sports, Tom Pelzer. Tom, good to see you.
Good to see you, Russ. Very happy to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
No, I appreciate it. No, this is great. And we talked a little bit in the prelims to this, but why don't you share with the audience, what is 2B Sports? And 2B, by the way, is two words, TOBE. Let's clarify that for everybody.
Yeah, the funny behind 2B Sports, the name itself is a bit funny because I have a business partner that I founded 2B Sports with, and our first names are Tom and Ben.
Mm-hmm.
And then, while the idea come up of starting our own business, we obviously had to think about names that sound good and would have a good marketing strategy also involved, that sticks with the people in their mind. So we kind of thought it would be funny to combine our first names, which means to be and sports in English. So to kind of facilitate the whole sports industry in our name, and at the same time, it's also the beginning two letters of our names. So yeah, I guess we were pretty lucky with our names.
That's funny. I do tell people all the time, I said, make sure that as you're building your name for your company, make sure it's got a story to it, because A, you're going to be married to it for quite a while. And B, it's fun when you can have a good story to kind of back it up. So what is 2B Sports? What do you do?
So what our idea was, or our mission is, to develop clubs, especially in the soccer, or how we call it in Europe, football industry, to develop them sustainably and to have a long-term success while also enabling the sporting performances and the achievements. So what we want to do is to help clubs. So that means professional clubs, semi-professional clubs in Europe, but also in the US, to face the unique challenges in the dynamic world of football, and we want to guide them along the way, consult with them, tackle these challenges, and achieve a sustainable growth of the football club or the soccer club, to succeed along the way, in all departments of the club. So that means off the pitch and on the pitch, on the business side of things, the sporting side of things, the operational side of things, because we see the sports industry, a soccer club nowadays is not just a soccer club where people go to have fun and play their sports. It's becoming a business. And you have to see this business as like a 360 view, point of view, right? To be able to tackle all the different departments that need to align, for you to be able to have on-pitch success, because there's a lot happening behind the scenes that a lot of the fans don't realize and don't see. But in the end, it's all working together for the one goal of being successful on the pitch.
Okay. So you provide consultation and even training type of programs for soccer/football clubs around the world?
Yeah, you could say it like that. Basically, strategy advice. So, I mean, if I can share any example, there's a big movement going around the football industry or soccer industry, which are multi-club ownerships, which means that you're not just having one club, but you have the power and you operate across multiple clubs and also across multiple countries. So there's, for example, the most famous multi-club ownership is probably the Red Bull concern.
Mm-hmm.
They have different clubs in Europe, but also in South America. They have the New York Red Bulls in North America. And for example, this could be very interesting also for semi-professional clubs to build a global network, because yeah, there's so much benefits to it. And what we basically do, it doesn't have to do anything necessarily with multi-club ownerships, but just strategy consultants. So if a club has any problems off the pitch, for example, they need to create funding. I mean, money is the biggest thing, not only in business but
Yeah.
also in the sports world. And to get funding, to get more money, I mean, you probably know a lot about it as well. There's a lot that comes to it, and there's a lot you have to do before, approaching investors or start a crowdfunding platform or implement new marketing strategies. So yeah, that's basically what we do and what we want to be doing in the future as well.
Okay. So let's take a step back because I love the type of stuff that you're doing, but it wasn't that long ago that you were on the pitch yourself. So talk to me about what it is that qualifies you and Ben, for that matter, to be out doing this.
Yeah, well, a little background about us, or about me as well. We both grew up in Germany, started playing together at a very young age. Then our path kind of went different ways, because Ben went to a different club. And then, yeah, we stayed in Germany until we were 18, playing at a really, really high level
Yeah.
in soccer, and then both went on to studying in Austria. I went on to the US with a soccer scholarship to study here. And the background we both gained in soccer was immensely, because we weren't just normal players. We were most of the times the leaders on the pitch. We were captaining our teams, so we had a lot of discussions with the head coaches, but also managers. So
Mm.
we kind of worked together with them to create an environment for the whole team, that's going to benefit everyone. And we were almost in every team that we were playing in, we were the ones that stepped up and wanted to achieve something great with that team, which not only meant to put in the hard work on the pitch, but also think about what we can do off the pitch to make our on-pitch success even better. Yeah, and moreover, we had both pretty great internships at professional clubs where we, yeah, gained a lot of experience, did online certificates while being at college and while studying, while playing soccer. So yeah, although we're still young, we know that we have knowledge. We might not have years and years of experience, but we know that we're um, industry experts, you could say, and have the valuable knowledge that it takes to tackle these problems.
Okay. And what are the problems? I mean, what is it that was so lacking that the two of you felt the need to take on the risk, take on the responsibility of starting a business to go cure these things? What was going on in the club world?
Well, especially in Germany or in this German-speaking world, where you have Switzerland, Austria, and Germany, you have a lot of those semi-professional clubs that kind of never reach their full potential, because you have people that work on a volunteer basis in the club. So, everyone has a lot of different tasks that they need to tackle. So they work a 9 to 5 job, and at the same time, they have to run a soccer club, which is still playing at a very high level,
Mm-hmm.
but not professionally yet, for example. And you just kind of see a lot of those problems that they're just not capable of tackling all the marketing problems that you have nowadays. I mean, social media plays a huge roles in, I feel like, every business. So to tackle those problems, and then also, I mean, if you want to take the next step in business, but also in the sports world, you have to get funding and you have to get capital to sign new players, to increase and improve your facilities. Um, yeah, just to offer more to not only players but also your whole coaching staff, manager staff. And we kind of saw that as a point that was lacking, especially in the German speaking industry, that people just didn't have the expertise to handle these problems. And we thought, yeah, why not do our own thing and kind of help them along the way. If it is little task, we can help them, but also if it's a whole big task about completely restructuring a club and wanting to build something great, that were the main problems that we saw in the football world, and that's why we decided to start our own business.
Okay. And how long have you been in business?
We started our business in March of 2024, so
Okay.
yeah, it's becoming to be 1 year soon here. So pretty happy about that.
So this is, I love this because many of the guests that I've had on the show and will be having in future episodes, many of the guests that I've had on the show are ones that, they've been around the block, several years worth, right? And we're
Yeah.
significantly older. We've got lessons, upon lessons. Sometimes we had the opportunity to make multiple mistakes or go through the same mistake multiple times, for instance. Um, but for you, it's still very fresh. And you're still really getting out of the gate. Talk to me about this first year and what were some of the key. Well, let's start on the positive side. What were some of the key accomplishments you made this year that you were pretty proud that you and Ben got under your belt?
Well, for example, the most proud we were that we were able to have conversations with people that we were growing up looking up to,
Mm.
industry leaders, for example. We talked to the Austrian Bundesliga CEO, which is a really great deal to, speak to people who, like you said, have been around the block for multiple years, and getting advice from them. And it's just been so great, the response from them to us opening our own business. They were really supportive and we're still very close in contact with them, and have a meeting every now and then. And that's, for me, that's been one of the best things, that we had the chance to leverage our own business and get those contacts. And it's just increasing since then. So we have better contacts every month, more contacts, speaking to more industry experts, to club CEOs, to managers. So just those connections are so valuable to me.
So what is it? And I'm really curious about this, especially with the individuals you were just speaking of. I mean, for someone at that level, what was the best piece of advice they gave you?
Oh, that's a difficult question, to be honest. I think just to create, I mean, we spoke about that before already, to create like a clear, not only marketing strategy, but a clear plan for yourself too. So to have a 3-year plan about where do you want to go, what do I have to do to get there, and then keep sticking to that path. So don't try anything crazy out of the ordinary. So stick to your idea. You have that idea, and they were really liking our idea. So stick to that idea and just gain as much experience along the way and as much knowledge along the way. And yeah, don't let anyone pull you down. That's, I think, um, what comes to my mind at the first time.
Okay, no, that's good. Yeah, especially the long term planning. I love that because a lot of times I'll work with people and I'll say we're going to work backwards from this plan, right?
Hmm.
That vision, and I can write a blog about this I think soon because it's I articulate it the same way to everybody. And in this room, if you saw the rest of this room, you'd see I read a ton of Stephen King. And some people don't like the horror and that kind of stuff, but for me, it's about the way he articulates any piece of his story. He'll take 150 pages to describe this room and everything in the room, but he
Yeah.
describes it to such an extent that you can see it in your own mind. You can feel it. You can hear it. You can smell it. It's as if you're in that room yourself. That's the way I want people to get with their vision of the future. I want you to be so clear about what you want this company to look like 5 years from now that you can hear it and see it and taste it and smell it and just know that that's where you're going to end up. It's as if it already exists, even though it's 5 years down the road. If you can create that type of compelling vision, then we can start to back out of that and say, if that's where I'm going to be in 5 years, what do I have to do to get there, to get in the next 3 years to get myself towards where it needs to be in 5? And what does that mean by the end of this year? What do I have to have in place? And what does that mean for this quarter? And now this month, and then this week. And so in the next 4 days, I have to do X, Y, Z to move myself towards that vision, right? That's how we take some sort of forecasted vision or forecasted place that we want to be in a handful of years, and we bring it down to, what do I have to do today to get myself there?
No, I feel like that's a really big point, especially about what you said, your confidence level about the vision itself. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, every call you have to have that confidence in you that you're gonna make it and nothing can stop you and you're gonna achieve what you plan to achieve. I feel like that's one of the biggest and most important things that you gotta have in you.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, right? From what, 80 years ago or something like that. I mean, it's
Right.
still as relevant today as it was on the day that he wrote it. If you put it out to the universe, you want to make something happen, get it out to the universe and let the universe help you start making it happen.
Yeah,
So let's
exactly.
go next step. You talked a little bit about a couple contacts you have, but you also said it's good to go out and keep finding those contacts, keep finding people to talk to. How do you do that? Where do they come from?
I mean, to be honest, I feel LinkedIn is a really great platform
Hmm.
to connect to people in the business world, in the sports world, really anything related to your career. You can find great contacts. I mean, we connected over LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I feel like if you're active on there, and you have kind of your niche that you want to operate in, or any niche that you're just kind of interested in, you can really find industry experts and connect to them, speak to them. Everyone is very friendly, but um, also more than LinkedIn, it's also about having to go to events. My
Hmm.
business partner went to an event last fall where obviously in person it's always different to connect to people than online. So that's also one of our plans moving forward, to go to as many events as possible, meet those industry experts in person, because we all know how much better it is to interact with people in person, meet them, connect with them. Um, yeah, and also like word of mouth. So if you speak to one industry expert, they often refer you to someone else. So that's been also one of the key aspects how we found new contacts, while speaking to one expert, that they said, "Hey, I know another guy who could be really helpful for you, or who could be maybe a potential client," and then he connects you to them. So yeah, it's a process that takes time. But yeah, if you're engaged on all the platforms and talk to people, then you'll get the stone rolling and connect to really great people.
And I think you touch on the piece that many people forget about, and that is, I still need to be engaged, right? I'm not going to draw people in just because my profile's out there, right? I have to actively be working my profile, actively getting involved in LinkedIn and finding people and having the equivalent of conversations, right? Through LinkedIn messaging or commenting on blogs or articles that they put out there, engaging with Instagram, TikTok, whatever socials those individuals put out there. Um, Russell Brunson has a big discussion around the top 100 influencers, right? And he's not the first to do it, but he has a podcast I listened to not long ago, or maybe it was his book. I don't remember. Fact is, he's got something out there talking about the top 100 influencers, and the whole idea behind it is knowing those that are in your industry and getting involved with following them, listening to what they're listening to, reading what they're listening to, or reading what they're reading, um, interacting and engaging with some of their content. It gets you up to speed with with what those top people are doing in your space. And by association, sometimes it can get you involved as one of those influencers as well.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. I feel like it encompasses so many things. I mean, we at 2B Sports try to create posts on LinkedIn, especially
Sure.
weekly, which is not easy. But like you said, that's not all about it. It's also about interacting with other people's posts, reacting to it, and then also I feel like a big point is also to be brave. You know, if you talk to people and you know they're connected to other people, then ask for it, you know, because I feel like we always have to count on the good on people. And I mean, especially me, I always see the positive in people. So if I feel like um, you, for example, know an industry expert that might be really great for me to connect to, then I would be brave and ask you about it and ask you for the contact. I mean, the worst that can happen is you saying no. And then also being brave in other aspects. So directly messaging people. I mean, on LinkedIn, once you're connected to people, for example, you can message them instantly. And yeah, there's not a lot that can happen about it. The worst thing, like I said, is either they say no or they don't answer.
Yep.
So basically, for me, my approach is, yeah, I cannot lose no matter what I do. As long as I'm engaged, like we said, I cannot lose. I'm always gaining something.
Yeah. And if you don't ask, the answer is definitely no. So, there's no harm in
Right,
asking. I like it.
right.
All right.
No,
Very
it's
good. So, and I'd like the idea of being brave. That not only do you have to be brave to get out and start your own business in general, but just having these conversations that are the ones that are the basis for your business being able to move forward. Those in themselves require some bravery and some confidence. Uh,
yeah.
so again, I kind of come back, and I don't want to keep coming back to your age, but you're still fairly new, and many of my clients are young and in that space of just learning how to be an entrepreneur. And I think it's important because the natural tendency in that is I don't have the experience, I don't know the people I need to, and you're telling me you took it upon yourself to just say, yeah, I don't know those people, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah, no, exactly. I always loved the idea, you know, of being independent, and kind of doing my own thing. So, yeah, starting off that business and becoming an entrepreneur, I mean, to be quite frank, didn't happen overnight, you know, but it was still like a pretty quick process. So I didn't plan it a year ahead. I mean, like you said,
Yeah.
I'm still pretty young. But yeah, it happened quick, but ever since I haven't looked back and only looked forward and been happy about the decision to becoming an entrepreneur,
Mm-hmm.
and loving how it is and how it feels so far.
So, what's your Stephen King vision? Do you see yourself building it and selling it? Do you see yourself just doing this for the next 30 years? What do you see?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, what I see is a long road ahead. I definitely want to keep working at 2B Sports for a long time, but I also see a lot of stairs, so a lot of steps in front of me.
Yep.
I also like to split it up in different little steps. So I see maybe first of all the next year 2025, what is ahead, and see those little goals that will in the end help me to achieve the big goal. And you know, obviously the big goal is to be one of the most respected agencies in the soccer world. That would be amazing. Also heading to new heights. For example, now we're just in the men's football world, but we're also really interested about the women's football world,
Mm.
which is also getting bigger and bigger. So those are like kind of goals along the way. But yeah, the small goals are the ones that I'm focusing about, or focusing on. And yeah, I always like to have have kind of like that tunnel vision. So I see in front of the tunnel my big goal, but along the way, there's so many little tasks that you have to achieve daily, and you can only achieve them if you're constant and if you really work on it every day and have that discipline. There are some days, obviously, where we have other things to tackle in
Mm.
our daily life and other tasks that come up, but still finding that time to work on your business and improve it at 1%, 0.5%, 2% daily. I think that's what it's all about, and will help you achieve the big goal and will help us as well to achieve our big goal in the long term.
Oh, that's great. And life gets in the way of business, and sometimes those roles are reversed. But the fact of the matter is, you have to find a way to do both, to kind of make your way through. So, talk to me these steps. Talk to me about some of those maybe missteps, or maybe a couple of those times where you kind of took a couple steps backwards before you could move forwards. What were some of the stumbles in the first year?
Some of the stumbles definitely was that we focused on potential clients a bit too much, where in the end we focused on them, even did some work for them. You want to present yourself well, so we did research, spent
Mm.
hours and hours on focusing on that call and pitching our idea to them. And in the end, it didn't work out. Well, we haven't lost money, but we have. I mean, I always see the gains I've made, so obviously I've still gained experience from it. But yeah, losing so much time, and we're so euphoric about having those people as clients, and in the end, it didn't work out. So yeah, that was a bummer. But yeah, like I said to you, I always try to see the positive, and I feel like we didn't put any money in there, so the only thing I've lost is time. But still, in this time, I wasn't wasting it. I've done some work, gained experience. I know maybe I pitched it wrong to them. Maybe my communication wasn't clear enough. So I feel like analyzing it in the end and seeing what went wrong, is yeah the most important thing. And you gain the most from your failures.
That you do. Okay, so you've got one, maybe more than one, where you've prepared for the client and it just doesn't fall, it doesn't come through for you. Um, what else? How did things go with learning how to finance, learning how to manage your time, learning how to work together as a partnership? That's always critical, especially for individuals that have known each other before but are just really kind of marrying themselves into a partnership. Any lessons along the way there?
Yeah, I mean, for us specifically, it's been pretty difficult, I would say. I mean, since the time we're operating in different time zones, right? I'm
Right.
sitting here in the US, and my business partner Ben is sitting in Austria, so there's like a 7 hour time
Mm.
difference. So, I mean, it works out now, but in the beginning, you gotta figure out your schedule. We both still have class practices going on, and obviously I have to find time sometime before the afternoon. Ben has to find time in the night. So those were obviously, yeah, some of the problems we had to tackle, but I feel like we did that pretty well, and we always find times, even if it's spontaneously, to talk and exchange our ideas. And working together with him is so far a really great experience, because four eyes see better than two. We can share our knowledge. We have different expertise in a little bit of different areas, so combining our knowledge so far has been really great. Yeah, but obviously it's also been a struggle, and in Germany, following the rules has been not the rules, but regulations, has been a struggle. You got to be aware of, yeah, what do you have to do to operate a business? You have to register certain things. You want to create a business banking account.
Hmm.
What do you have to do for that? So it's also been a lot of research about miscellaneous tasks that cost time, but are necessary in the end to be sufficient and to be sustainable in your business.
Okay, I like it. What about working with Ben? And I told you I'd be pretty direct with some of the questions. What was it about him? Why was he the right partner for you?
Yeah, I mean, like I introduced him before, I think we have seen each other since we were like 12 years old, maybe three, four times up until we started our business, but we were always in contact. I mean, now in our global world, we had phone calls every now and then,
Hmm.
and we always shared that same kind of vision about the football industry and had similar ideas, similar passions in our professional interests. Always wanted to go in kind of the same paths, and it was just one night that we had our usual calls. We kind of said, "Hey, I don't know. We both wanted to create something, stand for something, and don't wait in the line of jobs or applications." So it was a really spontaneous thing, to be honest. But I feel like that's how many business ideas start. It just strikes you at one day and you say, I want to start a business. And that's kind of how it happened with him. And I always valued his expertise. I always loved talking to him, sharing ideas. Yeah, and that's just kind of how it happened.
That's great. Yeah, I think sometimes, and that's why I asked the question, sometimes we get into partnerships with individuals in that exact scenario, right? Now, you've known him for several years, but sometimes people will get talking with somebody about an idea and they start getting excited about it. And, a couple weeks into talking about it, or you find out about this person's business. Ooh, that'd be really interesting. I wonder if they're looking for a partner. And then you start talking to them. And over the course of a few days, a few weeks, suddenly you're going into partnership for who knows how long, right? And um, it's almost like we go through a speed dating process and then we're getting married, where the partnership truly should be one of those things where you really get to know each other. You really want to pull back the curtain a little bit and understand the person you're getting into business with, because getting out of a business marriage, if you will, is just as difficult, if not more difficult, than uh, an individual's marriage, right? And you're just as committed to it as you would be to any other spouse. It doesn't let you sleep at night sometimes, doesn't let you sleep on the weekends sometimes. It will be very demanding on you. And as a partnership for you and that other individual, you've got to work very closely together to make sure that you are in line with, as you said, the vision, that long-term vision, as well as who's doing what today to help move towards that vision. And so I think
No, yeah.
the lesson that you have there, I think, is the fact that you guys knew each other for a long time. You had common interests, you had common visions for how things could go. And yeah, it may have occurred on the back of a napkin some night, but the fact of the matter is, you've been building up to that for quite a while.
No, I feel like that's totally true, and I feel like it's super valuable that we've been knowing each other because, yeah, our business relationship is like super fair. Once he has something going on in his daily life, like we said earlier,
Yeah.
I'm more than welcome to handle his tasks, and also the other way around. So we almost every time agree upon something, and don't have a lot of arguments. I mean, knocking on wood, I hope it keeps staying that way. But it's been really great and a really fair business relationship. But we are also friends at the same time, so I feel like that's super valuable. So you can always trust each other, and yeah, work together um, sustainably. I feel like that's super valuable for us.
Okay. So what's holding you back today? What are the top two or three things that if we could infuse those things in your business today, you'd go you'd go places with it?
I mean, it's still a lot about the experience. I feel like that's holding a lot of the clients or of the people in the sports industry back about saying, hey, we want to work with those two young guys, because I feel like a lot of people think that just because you're young, you lack experience, but I disagree totally with that statement. And then also, I mean, we have gained a good network, but yeah, improving that network, getting to speak with more possible clients. I feel like that's what's kind of holding us back. And then also, getting the chance. I feel like there's always a little percentage of luck in your business. You got to be at the right time, at the right moment. You got to be there and also get that opportunity. You need someone to believe in you. I feel like that will come soon. I have a good feeling. But yeah, I feel like there's also always another party involved in your business becoming successful. So we're basically that's what's kind of holding us back at the moment. But yeah, I'm convinced that that will happen soon enough.
I agree. Yeah, I think that the idea of luck is interesting because people talk about manufacturing or making your own luck. And I think what that basically gets to is yes, sometimes things just fall into place, right? It just happens that way. But you also have to be an opportunistic place yourself where you can take advantage of that. And that means creating opportunities for luck to happen, right? And the more opportunities, the more conversations you have. Luck isn't going to take you from sitting in your dorm room to suddenly having a business, right? You've got to be out there building, talking, networking, taking advantage of connections, and then luck will fall in, right? If you're putting the effort in, luck can find you. The other thing you talk about, the lack of experience, I find in the service industry, this is an interesting one because it does hold back some entrepreneurs. But the younger generations right now don't want to wait for years going by before they start their business. They want to start it now. And I can't blame them. You know, I enjoy the entrepreneurial space. I enjoy owning my own business. There's a number of reasons why. But this lack of experience can hold you back, especially in service-based business. I think the key for you there is to make sure that you're asking the right questions, right? If you can ask a question that can make somebody think, and they stop and say, you know what? I never thought about that before. That's a great question, right? Now you've got them. Because it doesn't matter what experience you came in with. It doesn't matter whether you've been in the industry 80 years or 80 minutes, right? If you can ask a question that they've never thought of before, suddenly your perspective becomes valuable to them. And so I think the power for you, Tom, is really in finding those questions to ask in the moment that will get them to think in a different way than what they've seen before.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, you're totally right. Luckily, I'm German. I feel like we have embedded that critical part about us. But yeah, critical thinking, I feel like, yeah, is a really big point. And like you said, thinking about how can I improve this? How can I find a solution for the problem? So don't be stuck on the problem, but
Yep,
always seek that solution, and find a way out. I feel like, yeah, that's the biggest points about moving forward and about improving whatever you're doing.
that's great. So, what is your one message to any other students who want to become an entrepreneur and don't want to wait till they've graduated to do so? They want to just get going right now. Maybe they want to use it to pay for their college or university themselves. What lesson would you leave with them, or what advice would you leave with them going out?
Trust your instincts is probably the biggest one. Trust your gut. Go with the flow. I like to say that, but just focus on your interest. If you have interests that don't align with your major, then keep following them, and yeah, hold you accountable for everything there is in the world that you're interested in, and keep learning about it. I mean, learning is probably the biggest thing that helped me along the way. Studying up on the material I like, studying up yeah, whatever industry I'm interested in, reading books, talking to people. I feel like that will get any student more interested about becoming an entrepreneur. And then also don't be afraid of it. Obviously, starting a business means to handle a lot of responsibility and weight up on your shoulders, but
Yep.
also it's a great process. That's what I can share with everyone. Although you have way more to do in your daily life, you'll love it. Like you said earlier, it's kind of becoming your own child. You're gonna be married if you have a partner. So there's a lot to do, but you will love it. And I hope other students can also become entrepreneurs and yeah, follow their interests.
Okay. I like it. So, anything else that I haven't asked today, Tom, that you wanted to make sure you brought up?
If you're a manager of any soccer club and you want strategic advice, you seek yeah, consultancy, or you seek about any tips about how to excel in the sports industry world, no matter where you're from, yeah, contact us. I'm sure our contacts are linked somewhere here in this episode, and feel free to reach out, and we'll be more than happy to assist you.
Yep, I'll get you to send me all the links you want to share with everybody, how to find you, everything else. We'll get you to send that over and we'll get them in the show notes.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, Tom, thank you for your time. So that's a wrap for the episode of Legacy Unscripted. If today's conversation sparked something in you, don't just sit on it. Take action to build your future. Make sure to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with someone who may need to hear it. And if you've got a story, something to share, something you want to connect about, you know where to find me. Until next time, keep it real, keep it bold, and keep living your legacy.